All right, team, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. Um, as Move United Elite team members, alumni, and Warfighters ambassadors, you represent an important core group of athlete representatives for Move United. And as we continue to grow and evolve, we want to be sure that you have the tools that you need to be successful in your endeavors. To start us off, I just want to cover a couple housekeeping notes. Feel free to keep your video on, but it's not mandatory. We'll be splitting into breakout rooms later, and we'd love your engagement. But before then, we're going to have everyone's mics muted just to minimize distractions. Closed captioning is enabled for this, so feel free to adjust the font as necessary. If you do have any questions during the beginning part of the presentation, please use the chat function for now. We will have time to address questions at the end, or if they come up real time, we'll see if we can address them then as well. We also have a number of ambassadors and elite team members who are unable to join us today, so we're going to be recording the session to share in a follow-up email you will all be receiving. So today you'll hear from a few of us at Move United, and we wanted you to also put some faces with maybe some new names you've been seeing with us. So our executive director, Glenn Mary, was going to kick us off, and you'll also hear from competitions manager Jesse Cloy on how formerly Disabled Sports USA and Adaptive Sports USA are working together and giving an idea of what the competitions realm could look like this year. And finally, we'll dive into our year in review with our marketing manager, Jackie Bears, including some poll questions and breakout rooms to better understand what we can provide for you for a successful year in relationship with Move United. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our executive director, Glenn Mary, to kick us off.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. As I look through the montage of photos, I recognize a lot of faces that I normally see in person. We wanted to take some time to talk a little bit about the brand and the evolution and a little bit around 2020 and what we've been doing and what the future looks like. Some of you will have already been through an orientation maybe last March with me or the December before that for the Warfighter ambassadors. And for the E-team members, you may have seen some of the YouTube videos or newsletters that have gone out talking about where Move United is, who we are, what our vision is moving forward. And so this kind of all ties into it. The reason we wanted to gather this group together is because you're a really important part of Move United. And you are a really important part of Disabled Sport USA or Adaptive Sport USA, depending on where you came into the mix from prior to the merger. We want to make sure that you understand that. Your relevancy to who we are who we are because of you, and the programming and the opportunities and the engagements that we're looking to bring to the community. So as the most visible reps, I wanted to take a second. Some of you may have already heard me talk about Vision 2028. But when I came on board about 2.5 years ago, my purpose was to think forward to where the organization could be. And in my first 6 months, some of you will have heard this before, I took time with Kirk to sit down and meet with staff and meet with stakeholders to kind of better understand who Disabled Sport USA was, and to begin to set out some long-term vision for where we wanted to be by 2028. We chose 2028 because it was a nice 10-year period away. It seemed like a long time then. It's only 8 years now. But 2028 is when the Paralympics return to the United States. And while we aren't about Paralympics, it's a point in time when the American people are going to have a newfound touch point and relevance to people with disabilities in adaptive sport specifically. So as we began to think through our vision of growth, where we wanted to be, the type of organization that we wanted to be prepared to accept and accelerate the growth of adaptive sport with this 2028 moment, we really thought about who we were as Disabled Sport USA at the time and began to do an assessment, kind of similar time frame of assessing who we were and what our brand was, and de facto what our name was. We are also having conversations with Adaptive Sport USA about what partnership could look like between these two organizations that, Adaptive Sport USA predated us by 10 years, and very similar missions, although different pathways to those missions, where we focused at Disabled Sport USA on winter and recreational and day-to-day sports programming. Adaptive Sport USA's niche was more competition. So as we brought the groups together, we really intentionally and unintentionally became the brand that you see today with Move United. We created a around movement, around moving, around being active, around adaptive sport. And we began to unify the entire population at the community grassroots base. So as we began to think about who we were and who we serve, this Move United becomes more of a call to action. And so as I think about your role in this, and you begin to think about your role in this, it's really critical to kind of understand some elements of that brand. And brand is a name, but brand is also the messaging behind it. So when we think about the three pillars of who Move United is, one is about sports makes us more. And it's this idea that by participating in sport, whether recreational or competitive, it's going to push you beyond limits that you thought. It's going to open up limits in perception that outsiders have of your own capabilities and open up your own capabilities. Second piece is this concept of just ask. And what I mean by that is, although people with disabilities are about a fifth of the population in the United States, it's largely ignored. It's largely a group that doesn't get front and center stage. And what we want to do is we want to create an opportunity where day-to-day moments are shared. We also want to share fantastic moments and celebratory moments, whether you're climbing a mountain or whether you're playing bocce with your friends. We want to be able to articulate what adaptive sport is and why it's important. We want to create that dialogue, both with the outside world, but also within the community of people that aren't participating in sport that should be part of our community, people with disabilities. And that's where the third pillar comes in, join the movement. And this is about engaging those as ambassadors, as leaders in the youth sport space, about getting friends and like-minded people to engage in a more healthy, fitful lifestyle. So gathering this group together is because you sample from each of those three pieces of the brand. And your job as ambassadors, your role as elite athletes within our system is to go out and engage people, whether it's around Just Ask, whether it's around doing something extraordinary or just day to day, whether it's about getting people to come into the movement and recruiting people off their couches or out of their chairs to engage. So this idea, this formation of Move United is very intentional over the last 2 years. We've been on this track. And as we look forward to the next 8 years, Jackie's going to talk more about how the brand moves us forward and where we intend to be. And she's going to celebrate some moments that we've had as well. But then we're going to ask you a little bit more about how you see the brand, how you interact with the brand. So without further ado, and the other thing I would say before I pass it off to Jackie is any of you that would like to, please reach out. You can find my email on the Move United website. You can find my number. Although our offices are working remotely right now, we're working all the time, and I'm happy to speak with you. And indeed, I've spoken with many of you, whether it's Steve Martin or Sarah Evans. I've had conversations with people over the past year or two continually. So please continue to engage. I really enjoy that. I think you're also going to have a great opportunity to meet some of our new staff. We've grown tremendously in the last year, 30% growth. Part of that is because of the merger with Adaptive Sport USA, and I'm really pleased to be able to bring over the team that they had at Adaptive Sport USA. And Jesse, one of the Paralympians who came through those programs and worked there, and now works at Move United, is going to speak to you as well today. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Jackie. I probably ran about 3 minutes too long, but I get to do that, I guess. Go ahead, Jackie.
Hey, you had great timing, Glenn. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And we're actually going to shift it to Jessie first to kind of run through a little bit more about her role and the upcoming competitions this year.
All right. Well, hey, everybody. I recognize some names and some faces, but I don't think I've had the pleasure to meet most of you. So I hope I do. You know, I hope in 2021 we can actually get out and see one another in person. That would be the ultimate there. Like Glenn said, I came from the Adaptive Sports USA side of Move United. I was a volunteer with Adaptive Sports USA as junior committee chairperson. So my primary responsibility was running junior nationals every year, which is a week-long event for youth under 23. And now I've come over to Move United as a competition manager, and I'm very, very excited to be a part of this team. So I'm not sure if you are or are not familiar with the competition series, so I'm just gonna start at the bottom here, or the basics, which is that we offer a competition series. At the moment, it is summer sport based, and primarily focus is on key sports of archery, powerlifting, paratriathlon, table tennis, shooting, swimming, and track and field. However, our goal with this merger is to grow both the number of competitions within the program and the number of sports that we're offering. And then eventually the dream would be to have a winter side to that series. So we're starting there and moving up. We have events throughout the country. At the moment, we have 23 events on the program. The majority of them are multi-sport, but some are singular. Some swimming or archery events are just one sport. We're excited that those events are qualifiers for junior nationals. So if you are an under 23 athlete, we invite you and want you to compete at our junior nationals, which will be this summer in Colorado, in Thornton, Colorado, the week of July 18th, hopefully. That's not public knowledge yet. We haven't signed contracts, but write it tentatively on your calendars, please. And then other athletes that are not under 23 or who are looking to go on to other competitions use our events either as training or as qualifiers for U.S. Paralympic trials or Warrior Games, Valor Games, those kinds of things. Let's see, we serve all kinds of athletes. So whether the athlete is brand new, hasn't ever competed before, or they're an elite level athlete, we want to serve everybody and have an opportunity for everybody. We do have levels to our competitions. We have a level 1 through level 3 for each of our sports. And it gives our competitions an opportunity, to offer everything from a fun show up and just compete, and it, whether you win or you lose, it doesn't matter, to an elite level competition, which we have some that do offer international competition in elite level. Glenn referred to the Vision 2028. On the competition side, we are looking to help support that vision. We would like to see the number of youth participating, the number of Americans who have access to adaptive sports, all of those things that are within the vision. We're hoping to support through our competition series, which is why we would love to expand the number of sports and the number of competitions. And I guess there's one other thing on the competition series, or the competition department, that we work on that's not listed on here, but it's the International Wheelchair and Amputee Sports Federation. It's called IWAS for short, and they host World Games and Youth World Games, usually every other year, but they are unpredictable at times. But they are going to have a competition, fingers crossed, here in October in Portugal. And we are at the moment the United States member organization for IWAS. So if competing in Portugal is something that's piques your interest, keep a lookout. We'll put any information out if we have it. At the moment on the program is track and field, swimming, powerlifting, and CP soccer. So if you want to know what's going on, our calendar of events is unfortunately ever changing due to COVID. So we do have a page up on the Move United site, and once the new site launches, it'll have a more designated spot. But for now, if you look under sports and then under Move United 2021 competition series, we do list out the events that we have offering. They'll start in mid-April and run through the end of June primarily, and then there's a couple things in the summertime. So that's it. Now I think we hand it over to Jackie.
Thanks, Jesse. Yes, Jackie,
yes,
whenever.
Thank you, Jesse. I was like, I can't find my unmute button, as we've all been there. So anyway, hi everyone. My name is Jackie Bears. I joined the team at Move United in August of this year, so during COVID. So I have not had the pleasure of meeting most of you, basically all of you. But I think a couple of you, I recognize names. I'm the face behind our social media, so if I've reached out to you before, it's good to kind of meet you face to face. So as Glenn and Jesse both mentioned, I mean, our goal with each of you is to reach and engage more people with disabilities to ensure they're receiving the life-changing power of sports. And so the role you all play in that is so integral and so important. So through this conversation, which I'm going to look at this as a conversation, we're looking to make sure that you're equipped with everything you need to showcase Move United and its role in your life. So a little bit to kind of look back at the year that we had. So obviously with COVID starting in March, the shift to virtual programming needed to take place. So with that came the launch of the Adapt at Home program, which began in April. And so I'm sure many of you either attended a class, received a fitness kit, some combination of both, but we were really able to showcase 1,100 free live and on-demand classes, as well as the introduction of the fitness kit. And so there were over 1,500 fitness kits distributed around the country. So I would say, let's see who has one, but I can't see everybody on my screen right now, which is unfortunate. But then the leadership conference that takes place in May every year, that shifted to virtual as well, and there were over 1,200 participants in that from across all 50 states and even out of the United States. So really an opportunity for us to get even more large than an in-person event. And then of course, the Hartford Virtual Ski Spectacular, which took place in November, which I mean, I'm probably with all of you in the fact that I'm really upset that I wasn't able to be in person for that. But through the fact that we were able to shift to virtual, we were able to reach so many more people, and there were over 1,000 participants from all 50 states. And with that, we also introduced the Strava Club with Move United with our Trek to Breck event. So if any of you were able to log your miles through our Strava Club, you were part of almost or over 7,200 miles that were trekked between over 400 registrants. So really cool numbers and really cool ways that we were able to kind of expand with, you know, a pretty kind of awful situation going on around the world. So with Move United Warfighters and Move United Elite team members, all of you, with Warfighters, we were able to, we have 70 current ambassadors with our goal of getting to 100 to pilot our new formalized program. And then with the Elite team, we welcomed 74 new Elite team members in 2020, awarding over $135,000 in equipment and training grants, which then adds into our over 330 current Elite team members and alumni participating in over 30 states. So with those incredible numbers and all of you, it kind of then funnels into this a marketer's dream, basically, where we have this incredible organization. We're working well with you all. So basically, with over the 400 of you, we have way more potential to reach more adaptive athletes. So some quick math, because I know we all love math. I'm on the East Coast, so it's 5:20, but if each of you connected with a new adaptive athlete a month, we could introduce adaptive sports to over 4,800 new athletes in a year. And just imagine if there were maybe 2 more athletes or 3. I'm not going to do that math now because, again, after 5 p.m. But how do we do that? How can we help you all reach new adaptive athletes? So I put together a little sort of honeycomb, that's what I like to call it, where we have our Move United brand. And then there's social media, there's digital, there's all of that world. Then there's also word of mouth, which is tried and true, old faithful. So as you interact with your circles, your people, the people you communicate on a daily basis, they connect with their people. So the more you can kind of introduce Move United, or hey, check out this class I found, or hey, check out this new sport that I want to give a try, they're then taking that to their audience or their people. So it's really kind of this snowball effect, Winter, where we're able to continue to build out all of the reach, I guess you could say, of Move United. So some kind of tips and tricks. So with social media, I noticed, I mean, some of you already have this, but listing Move United in your bio as either a Warfighter ambassador or elite team member or elite team alumni, any sort of mention is that, and then people automatically see when they're on your social media profile that you're a member of Move United. Oh, what's Move United? Click, and it's a quick find, and then they're on their way. Additionally, I know a lot of you tag Move United in your posts. The more you do that, the better. We love to see and share what you're doing with the community. And so the more you can do that, the more I on the back end am ready to share that out to our followers. And then additionally with hashtags, hashtag Move United Warfighter and hashtag Move United Elite, they're a little wordy, but they do carry value, and it really showcases who you are. And then people can kind of get into that community of, oh, if you click on that hashtag, then you can see more posts about either the elite team or the Warfighter ambassadors. Then of course, the part of engagement. So engagement is basically interacting with a post, whether it's on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or YouTube, liking, commenting, sharing, saving, any of those count, because what that does is that then puts the content or the information in front of a different audience, in front of friends of your friends and friends of their friends. And it really, it's quite interesting on the back end of, you know, social media world, the way it works. But trust me when I say that, just a simple like or a simple comment or a share or anything, it really holds a ton of value for us and for expanding who we are and what we're doing. And then of course, I couldn't not include this, but posting. It's a very, you know, whether it's a story, whether it's including it on a Strava run, or really anything, any sort of interaction you have carries a new audience for us. So it's really important, especially as we look to expand. So then word of mouth, which, you know, like I mentioned, it's tried and true. You're never going to go to, you know, a restaurant or something without, you know, calling your friend and saying, hey, have you tried this yet? What do you think? And I mean, especially right now with safety precautions and all the different sorts of rules and regulations, be that level of comfort for someone, be that kind of, hey, you know what, I've given this a try, I enjoyed it, I thought you might like it. Be that person, be that kind of link between. And we'll get into in a little bit kind of materials that we could provide for you to kind of help you along being that link. Then representation, which we love a large word there. But apparel, I mean, you see my Move United shirt. I know you all have some sort of apparel from Move United, and if you don't, reach out, let us know. Which another question that we'll get into later is, what are you missing? What could kind of, what do you wear often, or what do you need that could kind of be that, you know, piece of clothing or piece of information that helps you better showcase Move United. And then what's happening outside. So what's going on in the outside world that you think would be really great if Move United could do? Or what sort of event have you been to where you're like, you know what, I think Move United would fit in really well here. Like, we're depending on you all to be kind of eyes, ears, all of that for what's out there and what we could be doing, because, you know, as we kind of get back into live events, or as we get into different sorts of virtual programming, we would love to hear from you all as to what you think could be helpful for us. And then, drumroll, the website. So we are underway for a website redesign, which will be coming in April of 2021, this year, which we're thrilled about. It's going to be a really, really great platform for everyone and a lot easier to navigate. But in addition to that, you'll all have your own athlete page, which I know most of you or some of you do currently on the website right now. but this will be a really nice platform for each of you where you can share. It'll be your own link. You'll be able to share that out with coaches or employers or pieces where you can put as much information on it as you want. It'll have, basically Bree will be sending a form outlining all the different content that you can include on there. Include as much or as little as you want. More is better in this case, if I do say so myself. But it's going to be a really, really nice platform for all of you, and it'll be something that you can be proud of and that you can share. So very, very, very excited about that. But I popped up, since I know we a couple of conversations got cut short that I know from the elite team over in that breakout room, there was a lot of really, really helpful stuff and really, really great conversations that we had. And so as you guys kind of think about the conversation we had over the last hour, I put up our emails, and then obviously Glenn gave the go ahead to reach out to him as well. So his is gmerry, MERRY, at our moveunitedsport.org. But would love to hear from you all. I mean, honestly, for me, it was great to put faces to names. And I'm really excited about what's to come in 2021 with Move United. And I think we have a great group of people that will really continue to expand adaptive athletes and adaptive sports. So I appreciate everyone's time. And I don't know, Bree, did you have anything else to close it up?
No, I just want to piggyback off Jackie. Thank you so much for taking the time and giving us your feedback. It is so valuable to us. I don't think you understand. I know the questions can seem kind of, some of the questions can seem a little obvious, but really we need to know. So I really appreciate you taking the time. I know that it's a slew of different times for all of you. So if you need anything, you know where to find me. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. Hey, and Bree, if you have any questions about what we were discussing, you can just email them to me, and then I will shoot you back a response.
You got it, Ron.
All right, dear.
Well,
Good
thanks
to
everyone.
hear and
Enjoy
see
the rest
everybody.
of your
Thanks.
Take care.
what day is Wednesday.
Have a good day.
Bye.